All right, welcome to the first chapter of our new book we're reading, Refugee. I'm going to try my hardest to do daily read alouds of this so that we can get this book finished by the time our school year ends. So I can't believe where we are and that the school year is coming to an end. As sad as that makes me. All right, so this book, Refugee, Refugee is written by Alan Gratz. And then what it does is it follows three different youths' perspective as they go through three different conflicts in our history. The first youth's name is Josef, and he's a Jewish boy living in the 1930s during Nazi Germany. So he is a German boy worried about living in the horribleness of the Holocaust. The next person in the story is Isabel, who is a Cuban girl in 1994. She's living in Cuba during political unrest, riots, and violence in Cuba. And then the final boy's voice is Mahmoud, is a Syrian boy in 2015. So we know that Syria, right now, this is Syrian civil war is one of the largest conflicts going on right now, and the death toll for that conflict has just been astronomical, as well as it's really caused an international refugee crisis because Syria itself was home to a lot of refugees from the Afghanistan and Iraq war with the U.S. So, Refugee, here we go, chapter 1. So, chapter 1 is Joseph, and it's staged in Berlin, Germany in 1938. Joseph, Berlin, Germany in 1938. Just to give you a little background on what's going on. So, this is during the Holocaust. The Holocaust was a time in which Nazi Germany, under the leader of Hitler, led out a genocide, a campaign to kill all Jewish people, to cleanse their country and other countries of all Jewish people. They were hoping to annihilate them. It wasn't only Jewish people that they targeted. They also targeted people who were Roma, who it's kind of like a nomadic tribe that travels. They were targeting anyone with any sort of physical or mental disabilities. They were targeting gay people. They were targeting even Africans or people with dark skin. So when we think about the Holocaust, it's led to well over 11 million deaths because of the Holocaust, and they don't know for sure. In fact, it's suspected it's more. It's seen as kind of one of our history's darkest hours, but we know that there has been lots of dark hours in the history of the whole world because of racism, because of the plague racism. So here we go. This is Joseph, set in Berlin, Germany, 1938. Crap! Not crap. Excuse me. Oh, signposting along for extra credit. Here we go. Crack! Bang! Joseph Ladau shot straight up in bed, his heart racing. That sound. It was like someone had kicked in the front door, or had he dreamed it? Joseph listened, straining his ears in the dark. He wasn't used to the sounds of this new flat, the smaller one he and his family had been forced to move into. They couldn't afford their old place, not since the Nazis told Joseph's father he wasn't allowed to practice law anymore because he was Jewish. Across the room, Joseph's little sister Ruth was still asleep. Joseph tried to relax. Maybe he was just having a nightmare. Something in the darkness outside his room moved with a grunt and a scuffle. Someone was inside the house. Joseph scrambled backward on his bed, his eyes wide. There was a shattering sound in the next room. Crish! Ruth woke up and screamed in sheer blind terror. She was only 6 years old. "Mama!" Joseph cried. "Papa!" Towering shadows burst into the room. The air seemed to crackle around them like static from a radio. Joseph tried to hide in the corner of his bed, but shadowy hands snatched at him, grabbed for him. He screamed even louder than his little sister, drowning her out. He kicked and flailed in a panic, but one of the shadows caught his ankle and dragged him face first across the bed. Joseph clawed at his sheets, but his hands were too strong. Joseph was so scared he wet himself, the warm liquid spreading throughout his night clothes. "No!" Joseph screamed. "No!" Whoa. The shadows threw him to the floor. Another shadow picked up Ruth by the hair and slapped her. "Be quiet," the shadow yelled, and it tossed Ruth on the floor beside Joseph. The shock shut Ruth up, but only for a moment. Then she wailed even harder and louder. "Hush, Ruthie, hush," Joseph begged her. He took her in his arms and wrapped her in a protective hug. "Hush now." They cowered together on the floor as the shadows picked up Ruth's bed and threw it against the wall. Crash! The bed broke into pieces. The shadows tore down pictures, pulled drawers from the bureaus, and flung clothing everywhere. They broke lamps and light bulbs. Joseph and Ruth clung to each other, terrified and wet-faced with tears. The shadows grabbed again and dragged them into the living room. They threw Joseph and Ruth on the floor once more and flickered on the overhead light. As Joseph's eyes adjusted, he saw the 7 strangers who had invaded his home. Some of them wore regular clothes, white shirts with the sleeves rolled up, gray slacks, brown wool caps, leather work boots. More of them wore the brown shirts and red swastika armbands of the Sturm Lung. Betlung is my guess. Adolf Hitler's stormtroopers. Joseph's mother and father were there too, lying on the floor at the feet of the brown shirts. "Joseph, Ruth," Mama cried when she saw them. She lunged for her children, but one of the Nazis grabbed her nightgown and pulled her back. Aaron Ladau, one of the brown shirts, used to Joseph's father. "You have continued to practice law despite the fact that Jews are forbidden to do so under the Civil Service Restoration Act of 1933. From this crime against the German people, you will be taken into protective custody." Joseph looked at his father, panicked. "This is all a misunderstanding," Papa said. "If you just give me a chance to explain." The brown shirts ignored Papa and nodded at the other men. 2 of the Nazis yanked Joseph's father to his feet and dragged him towards the door. "No!" Joseph cried. He had to do something. He leapt to his feet, grabbed the arm of one of the men carrying his father, and tried to pull him off. 2 more of the men jerked Joseph away and held him as he fought against them. The brown shirt in charge laughed. "Look at this one," he said, pointing at the wet spot on Joseph's nightclothes. "This boy's pissed himself." The Nazis laughed and Joseph's face burned hot with shame. He struggled in the men's arms, trying to break free. "I'll be a man soon enough," Joseph told him. "I'll be a man in 6 months and 11 days. The Nazis laughed again. 6 months and 11 days, the brown shirt said. "Not that he's counting." The brown shirt suddenly turned serious. "Perhaps you're close enough that we should take you to a concentration camp too, like your father." "No," Mama cried. "No, my son is just 12. He's just a boy. Please don't." Ruth wrapped herself against Joseph's leg and wailed, "Don't take him, don't take him." The brown shirt scowled at the noise and gave the men carrying Aaron Ladau a dismissive wave. Joseph watched as they dragged Papa away to the sounds of Mama's sobs and Ruth's wails. "Don't be so quick to grow up, boy," the brown shirt told Joseph. "We'll come for you soon enough." The Nazis trashed the rest of Joseph's house, breaking furniture and smashing plates and tearing curtains. They left suddenly as they had come. Hold on. Hold on. You're coming with me. Stay tuned. Get ready. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're moving. We're moving, people. I should watch where I'm going, not me. Oh, we're moving. Woo! People mowing their lawn in broad daylight. Just kidding. Good for them for having proper lawn maintenance. All right, going inside. Here we go. Still recording. This is crazy. All right. All right, welcome back. Here we go again. So, back to our video. Getting comfy cozy. Where was I? The brown shirt scowled at the noise and gave the men carrying Aaron Ladau a dismissive wave. Joseph watched as they dragged Papa away to the sounds of Mama sobs and Ruth's wails. "Don't be so quick to grow up, boy," the brown shirt told Joseph. "We'll come for you soon enough." The Nazis trashed the rest of Joseph's house, breaking furniture and smashing plates and tearing curtains. They left suddenly as they had come, and Joseph and his sister and mother huddled together on their knees in the middle of the room. At last, when they had cried all the tears they could cry, Rachel Ladau led her children to her room and put them in her bed back together and hugged Joseph and Ruth close until morning. In the days to come, Joseph learned that his father wasn't the only one that the Nazis had attacked that night. Other Jewish homes and businesses and synagogues were destroyed all over Germany, and tens and thousands of Jewish men were arrested and sent to the concentration camps. They called it Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. So I think we could maybe log this. It's a little bit different, but we could say in the days to come, Joseph learned that his family, we could log that as an aha moment. Because Joseph learns that his whole community in that one night was attacked, and multiple people were arrested, as well as, their synagogues are kind of like their churches. They were burned, businesses burned. So the author puts this in because this is actually like a historic moment. It was the first major coordinated act in the Nazis' plan to create the Holocaust. The Nazis hadn't said it with words, but the message was clear. Joseph and his family were not wanted in Germany anymore. But Joseph and his mother and sister weren't going anywhere. Not yet. Not without Joseph's father. Mama spent weeks going from the one government office to another, trying to find out where her husband was and how to get him back. Nobody would tell her anything, and Joseph began to despair that he would never see his father again. And then, 6 months after he had been taken away, they got a telegram. The telegram from Papa. He had been released from a concentration camp called Dachau, but only on one condition, that he would leave the country within 14 days. Joseph didn't want to leave. Germany was his home. Where would they go? How would they live? So we could log that. Where would they go? How would they live? For tough questions. Joseph is asking this because it's like his whole world in one moment has been ripped apart. He wants to know, like, he can't do anything, so he wants to know about what their future is going to hold, but he has no control over that. But the Nazis had told them to get out of Germany twice now, and the Ladau family wasn't going to wait around to see what the Nazis would do next. All right, stay tuned for tomorrow with Introducing Isabel.